It happens to everyone. You buy a brand new computer and the first time you boot it up, you're amazed at how fast it is. But then a couple years or even months go by, and before you know it, the computer struggles to run even basic programs. What happened? Well, there are lots of reasons why your computer might slow down over time, but I got a list of 10 things that you can do in Windows that will hopefully get it running more like the first time you bought it. And don't worry, these are all simple and free things you can do right now. Some of these might seem obvious, but others may not. So let's get started. First and foremost, clear out your startup programs and services. This has got to be the #1 reasons for slowdowns over time. Because think about it, as time goes on, you install new programs. Many of them make themselves start up with Windows. And if you don't close them, you'll have an increasing number of programs that are just running in the background, taking up resources. But don't think that just because you don't see any programs on the taskbar, that there aren't any programs running in the background. In Windows 8 and Windows 10, you can open up the Task Manager by pressing Ctrl-Shift-Escape. And then you're going to the Startup tab to see all the programs that start up with Windows. In Windows 7 and earlier, go to the Start menu and run msconfig. Right-click and disable anything that you do not need immediately all the time. You can obviously just manually run them whenever you want, but they do not need to start up with Windows. Now this is where most people screw up, because the Startup tab is not the end of the story, because many programs install what are called services, which are still programs that run in the background, but you'll never see them. So step number 2 is to go through these startup services and disable any of those you do not need as well. You can do this by pressing Ctrl-R, and this is going to open up the Start menu. And in the Start menu, you can type in services.msc. Then when you run this, you'll get a list of all the services, and any that say automatic will start up with Windows. What you can do is then right-click on them, and then change the startup type to manual, so they'll only run when the program starts. Keep in mind, you should be more cautious when disabling these, especially for programs that aren't necessarily manually run by you. For example, disabling the printer service might cause trouble next time you go and print. So only disable services that you know you do not need running in the background. This is also great for programs you see starting up all the time, but you can't find them in the startup list. It's probably actually a service. Now quickly, kind of as number 2.5, this is pretty common sense, and this goes off 1 and 2. But uninstall any unused programs. This will free up hard drive space and remove startup junk without having to go through the whole list of startup programs and services trying to figure out what each one does. Alright, step number 3, another simple one you're hopefully already doing, is scanning for malware and viruses. If your computer is always running slow for no apparent reason, it's possible that there is hidden malicious software running in the background, doing anything from showing you ads to using your computer resources in a botnet. Now you can scan for viruses and malware using the built-in Windows antivirus known as Windows Defender. You can perform a quick scan to see if there's any malicious software making your computer slow. Now I would advise looking for another antivirus and not just rely on Windows Defender. Now I'm not saying that Windows Defender is bad, all I'm saying is that having more than one antivirus software is good practice. And even if your computer isn't running slow, you should still have some sort of antivirus on your computer. Okay, step number 4 is quick and easy, and that's disabling all Windows animations. One of the ways you can do this is going to the Ease of Access settings window and check turn off all unnecessary animations when possible. You can also go to Control Panel, System, Advanced System Settings, Performance Settings, and adjust which animations to use. You can select the best performance option, which will disable all of the animations, or you can pick and choose. This will probably make the biggest difference on low-end computers. And if you have a powerful computer, you might do this just to squeeze out a little bit more juice out of it. And then the 5th step is keep all your software up to date. This includes Windows itself, your graphics drivers, and anything you use on a regular basis. The developers are frequently releasing new updates that optimize the performance as well as improve security. Plus, it's good practice. Step number 6 is check your power settings, especially on laptops. The default may have been set to balanced or even power saver, which are good for conserving battery, but will also slow down your computer considerably. Instead, you might want to change it to high performance. I learned this the hard way. A few days ago, I got a brand new laptop. It was supposed to be high-end, but when I got it, it was so slow, I couldn't figure out why. Just a few hours ago, I finally realized that it was on power saver mode. And when I switched it to high performance, then it was lightning fast. So be sure to check that. Okay, now we're going to get slightly more technical, but don't worry. So for step number 7 is to check your hard disk for errors. You can do this in a couple of ways. First, you can check your hard drive's reported health by going to Command Prompt. So go to the Startup menu and type in CMD. Then we're going to type in WMIC, and then we're going to type in disk drive get status. It means that there are no immediate serious errors that it thinks at least. If it says something other than okay, then it means that one of your drives could be having an issue and I would consider you replace it. The other way to check for drive errors is to go to command prompt and run the check disk command by typing chkdsk/f, which will search for and try to repair errors on your drive. If you're constantly getting a lot of errors, again, that might mean that your drive is failing, and that's why you always want to back it up. Step number 8 is check the Windows file integrity. Back at the good old command prompt, type sfc/scan now to run the system file checker, and this will try and find any system files that are missing or corrupted and try and repair them. Now, there are a ton of possibilities for error message that it could spit back at you. If you get one, you just have to Google it yourself and try and figure out what it is. I'm not going to help everyone with every random error message they get, because I won't know what it is without having to look it up. So step number 9 is to check for memory errors. If you have bad memory, it could cause all sorts of weird problems that you might never guess has to do with your RAM. To do this, go to the Start menu and then search for Windows Memory Diagnostic. Now careful, don't click Restart Now unless you actually want to restart the second. You probably would rather check on Next Startup and restart whenever you want. After you restart it, it should automatically tell you, and if anything comes up or you want to get more advanced, you can press F1 to change the test settings, but it's not really necessary. If you get a lot of errors, it could mean that your RAM isn't seated properly or one of the sticks is faulty and needs to be replaced. If the RAM is actually bad, replacing it is the only option. So for step number 10 is to format the drive and reinstall Windows altogether. Now this is obviously an extreme option, but if you are constantly getting issues and you can't seem to fix it no matter what you do, then a fresh installation of Windows is often the best way to go. Explaining how to reformat and reinstall Windows is way beyond the scope of this video. If you have no idea of what I'm talking about, then this is probably something that you should not be doing. But this list wouldn't have been complete without it. So next are a couple bonus options. But first, these involve actually buying new hardware, so they are not free. First, you can buy an SSD to replace your main hard drive. Sure, you can get a small one just to boot Windows off of it, but SSDs are much cheaper today to get a big one. Let me tell you, there's probably nothing that will make your computer run faster than getting an SSD. Of course, assuming that the rest of your computer isn't ancient. And once you get one, you'll never want to go back. The other thing is maybe buying more memory. Depending on how much you have, if you have 8 gig of RAM or less, and you want to do more than just check your emails and type up Word documents, you probably could benefit from getting more RAM. However, I definitely think it would be more beneficial to get an SSD first. And no, unfortunately, you cannot download more RAM, as awesome as that would be. So I think that sums it all up. Those should be some great things to try if your computer is running slower than it should be. And if I did forget anything though, be sure to let me know. So leave a comment with maybe any tips you'd think would be helpful too. And that concludes this video. If you enjoyed or found this video helpful in any way, shape or form, then consider leaving a like and subscribing. Turn on post notifications to be the first to know when I publish a new video. Also, if you have any constructive criticism or any questions or anything, comment them down below. Until next time, thanks for watching. Peace!